A teacher from my son's school pulled me aside one day and she said, they are talking about you. They say that you are getting slim because you are stressing over your ex. Don't worry, everybody is not the same. Then she proceeded to counsel me because in her mind, based on what she heard them gossiping about, she was of the opinion that it was true and that I really was stressing over the man. That's why I was slimming down. This incident happened in 2024. Okay? Sometime probably around this time, maybe, but in 2024. Okay? That is how long these narcissists posing as relatives and friends in my life were legit sitting down, making up stories and gossiping about me and just throwing it out there into the wind. And I had no idea that a lot of these persons around me were just enemies who were close to me but were telling other people all kind of made up stuff about me. So 2024 and then fast forward till to now, year 2026, when a lot of these people are being exposed for the fakes and the frauds they have always been in my lives. They are being exposed as. So, as I said, this teacher, she proceeded to, well, she wasn't too, how you say, honest either, but at least I could pinpoint a time based on that what she did. You feel me? Even if she wasn't too honest either. So she said, okay. So she basically went into acting mode and she offered counseling, saying, "Oh, I remember I went through something similar to that, and I remember that I was in a relationship. I had a fiance, and she said relatives told lies on her, and it cost her her marriage because her fiance just upped and left, and that was it. Her she never got the marriage, and the fiance just started off, and that was it. And that's when she realized that a lot of times relatives can be the very weapons formed against you, right? So these things are not so common as people think, right? And if you are someone who grew up in a household where all your family were together, they were a supportive unit, they were a healthy family, y'all grew up with support, financial support, and you actually were taught how to be a productive adult in life, then this video is not for you. This video is for those who have gone through the dysfunctional family mess, right? Been betrayed more times than they can count, and they have learned on their own after leaving the toxic family narcissistic dysfunction. They have learned how to survive and stand on their own because they realized they had a family around them, they had relatives around them, but it was not support, right? The love was not genuine. The things done was on the condition of, the love was given on the condition of, everything was conditional, right? It was given that only because you obeyed, it was given only because you decided to cooperate with the dysfunction and to keep the toxic secrecy of the bloodline. But once you started to say, no, I'm going to speak out against this, this is not right, once you start to walk in your own identity and your own path, they begin to drift and they discard you, right? And a lot of them, they will punish you by smear campaigns, smearing your name, and they will even go as far as to convince others not to support you because they want you to crawl on your hands and knees, running back to them, begging them to be the heroes and the saviors in your life. It's all calculated, it is toxic, it is manipulative, it is a evil maniacal system, and the survivors that get out of it, that no wonder a lot of them, they say they sever ties. And I can understand that, right? Because that's exactly how I feel and I have been feeling, right? And I have cut off my sister from what? Since the whole court incident. I have not spoken to her. And I have no desire for, what do you call it? Reconciliation or getting back together, or conflict resolution. I have no desire for that between me and that so called sister of mine. No desire whatsoever. So when I got home that day after I was counseled out of my so-called stress from the stories that they heard about the gossips and the smear campaigns, so I said to myself, so they're talking about me. So people are running their mouths, people are making up stories, and it reached as far as my son's school. Since 2024. Maybe all of this could have started before that, but just look at the extent of the thing. You feel me? And then when they do what they do to you and you say, screw you, don't talk to me anymore, you are not the victim here, y'all know you're doing wickedness and evil, they act like you're the problem and not them. Anyways, what happened after that? Yeah, so that's when I realized that, uh, there's a lot of gossipers around. And a lot of people, instead of coming to you to clear up things, to rectify if situations before they run their mouth, they would rather just go and run their mouth. They know where you live, they see you, but I guess it's easier to go and run their mouth, right? And this is just a long list of evidence against them, even witnesses, right? So if this thing could go to court, because I have lost so much because of these people and their carelessness. I have lost so much because of them and their carelessness, the carelessness of their tongue and their lips and the lies and the made up stories, right? This is way past defamation of character, right? This is a murder attempt, right? A failed murder attempt, because how could you go so hard to assassinate someone's reputation like that, and then still smile and call yourself the victim, and tell the person that they are the problem? Anyways, so if this was the case and they were indeed not making up stories, if I was really stressing over my ex, that's why I was losing weight, how is it that he pulled off more than one hover attempts to get me back, to get back in a relationship with him, to come back, to come and live with him, because he missed his family. He wanted to be around his child. He missed us and being a family. And I turned all of that down. I turned relationship down. I turned all them flying monkeys trying to get us to come back together. I turned all of those hover attempts down, because I was like, I am done with that relationship when I left his ass. Okay? So why would I leave this narcissist's ass and then be stressing out, losing weight, when I turned down his Hoover attempts? What sense does that make? You see, they just go around making up stories and just throwing them out in the wind, and they don't care what happens to your reputation, because a lot of them are jealous bitches. Anyways, so after all of that, right, when I left the narcissistic ex of mine, the so called sister said to me one day, "Oh, your ex bike here. It look like say you did a hold him down." Not only did that reveal to me that day that this so called sister of mine was a competitive bitch, it also showed me that she must have been one of the made up storytellers and the smear campaign starters, because if you respected a relative, you would not say something like that to their face. And if you could say something like that in front of someone's face, then what would you say behind their back? Right? So that was also another reason why I was like, since she carried me to court and the whole lying thing on the smear campaign, I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just sitting here still waiting on her. The only thing I am stressing about is her coming to get her stuff and clear out of my life. That's the only thing that stresses me. No narcissistic ex and none of them, right? They're not going to live in my head rent free. The only reason why I'm even recording these videos is just so that the other side of the story could be told. I don't even think I'm going to do these things anymore, because after this, I'm not really the type to really care about what others say, because normally I just sit down and just mind my own business. And apparently, a lot of people, they don't do the same, clearly. So, yeah, so that's what she said. And could you imagine that I started to see him get a car, driving a car, which he took months before he actually confessed that he was not the owner of the car. After he was driving around for a while, acting as if he was, before he actually confessed that he wasn't. So everyone would have at some point thought that, hey, it's his car. And he planted that seed of thought on purpose, because he could have just said it at the first time. It was not his car, but the way he acted and the way he behaved, you would have just automatically thought, oh, it's his car. No, it wasn't. And why would someone who said they care about you, right? They see a relationship not work out and they would say, oh, the person is stepping up in life now that you have left. You must have been the problem. It just shows how much they don't respect you. In Jamaica, they would say, them not rate you. It just shows how much she not rate me. Because I would have never said anything of that sort to her. Never. And she's had many failed relationships. So, as I said, he, boasted around and they're all fake, right? That's why they go around and make up stories on people, because their life is fake and boring, and they wear masks pretending like they got their life all figured out. Hey, look at me, my life is all sorted out, living my best life. And that's not the case. They fake all day every day, and instead of being genuine about it, they see genuine people who live their lives and they hate the fact that people like me are genuine, and they have to get up and wear masks and fake for validation, for people to get some high out of people saying, oh, hey, oh, that's so cool, oh, what a guan. Validation, do anything for clout. That's what they live on. That's how they survive all day every day. That's the energy that they feed off of, right? And when people like me, I just don't care. I don't care. I don't have to pretend to be what I'm not, right? They take the definition of fake it till you make it to the extreme. right? I'm not saying that you can't have good standards and values about yourself, but when you gotta put people down to feel good about yourself just to get some validation, you got a psychological problem. You got a immoral problem. You got a demon possession problem. Okay? Because I don't see how you can sleep at night knowing that you felt good about yourself and your level of status in life by putting down somebody else, by lying on them, and by using others, tearing them down with your nasty words. Yeah, so eventually I found out that yes, he said the car was not his. Later, his mother confirmed, said no, it's not his car, right? He and somebody um came together with the money, he and the brother and somebody else, and that's how he managed to get a car. And I was like, oh, well, it figures, because before I left his ass, right, in the relationship, he approached me one time and he was saying, let's join funds together so that I can buy a car and put it in my name. And I instantly said no to this because, for one, he was the type who would always say, oh, he was always determined to remind me that, hey, is my house, this is my house, is my house. Like at any moment, he could just kick me out of his house, right? And it's not like I was asking him whose house it was. He was just always on the ball to tell me, it's my house, it's my house. First of all, it's not even his house. Their house is in his mama's name. So any type of dude that would act like that, want to tell you it's my things, it's mine, 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 mine. Selfish, selfish little wuss grown man child, right? If you combine your expenses with them, he's definitely gonna say, oh, it's my car, it's my car, it's my car. So I was like, I shut that down. I was like, nope, nope. First of all, you didn't even marry me and give me your last name, and you want me to combine my money with you and buy a car so that it could go in your name? Really? No. Uh-uh. Anyways, so that's when I got the news. When he confessed, I was like, oh, so that would make a whole lot of sense that you really didn't buy the car with your own money, right? You had to join with somebody. So all this fakery, all this lifestyle, that at the end of the day you had to be like, what's all the clout for? What's all the hype for? There's really no hype. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors, right? And if people really took the time to get to know him, they realize that the hype, it's more hype than it is reality, right? He's the one that lives a fantasy. His whole life is a fantasy because all he does is wear masks and fake. His world is a stage, right? He's so fake that at the end of the day, when he does even um travel back here from the country that he's presently living in, he he would take his own money, rent a car. I guess taxi is too good for him, so that he could drive around and create the impression that he got it going on. Okay? This dude told me that over there where he lives and is working now, he don't even own a car. He rides a bicycle to work. Okay? So all of that is smoke and mirrors. And there was even a rumor going around that is you is the problem because he is married and you are not, something wrong with you. And as far as to go, like they said, nobody don't want you. Look on her. Listen to me, I know exactly who said that part. The so-called sister. Oh, she nobody know she. Let me tell you this. I'm not even gonna answer that part. But I can tell you, I have seen um mentally unstable women on the road who have been impregnated by men. So if they can be impregnated by men, it means that even when they are a woman is visibly dirty, homeless, on the road, hair unkept, and a man could still look at her and insert his genitals inside of her to the point of impregnating this homeless, dirty, unwashed, mentally ill woman on the street. And it has happened more than one time. I've seen mentally ill women who clearly are of unsound mind. The moment you see them, impregnated. So I am not the type to seek any validation from anybody by being in a relationship just to make somebody say, oh, somebody wants her. Boo, try again. Try again. Because there's lots of people who are married and they are miserable. And I can talk truth about that because a lot of these persons who are making up their stories about nobody no want her, that's why she's single. Let me tell you this. They are married and a lot of their relationships are shitty because they get up every day, quarrel, strife, fight, and argue like cats and dogs with the person that they are in a relationship with, right? This ex-narcissist of mine, he looked at me point blank before I left his ass, and he said, the only way I will ever get married is unless I perform a business marriage. So any marriage I see him walking into after I leave, I know exactly that that is a business marriage. So I have nothing to be jealous or envious about him with that about. And clearly, I am contented within myself at whatever situation or relationship I find myself in because I know that something is wrong with him up here. So, people that don't know him will go around and make up lies like this to feed the atmosphere, right? But if people who really knew me, they would be like, oh, nah, she left his ass. Why would she be jealous? Why would she care? You feel me? Plus, he looked her. He tried to get her back, and she turned his ass down more than once. So that should not phase her. Oh, if exactly, exactly, it should not phase me, and it doesn't. Okay. So when y'all are going around repeating your made up stories that these narcissists told you because you feel like they know me some type of way better than you, they don't know me. And even though they were close to me, they chose to tell you lies about me. That's the other part. So somebody can know somebody and you're trying to know that person and you ask them and they give you deceptive information because they don't want you to know that person that you are asking about because they don't want you to get close to that person. And that's some real shit. Okay? There are people out there like that they are not close to the person that you think they are. They might be around them, but they are not close to them. And they don't want you close to that person either. So, yeah. So at the end of the day, what was I? Yeah. So as I said, I know that any marriage I see him in, I know that for one, he is not happy because if he was, people wouldn't be contacting me saying, "Hey, your narcissistic ex called me and was complaining about his wife. His wife was this and his wife that." It's the same thing that he did when I was in a relationship with him before we ended up with me leaving his ass because he was always going around telling people I was the problem, I was a problem, find fault, find fault. Oh, she need for this, she need for upgrade herself, she need for stop this, she need for that. Everything was a complaint. I was a problem, I was a problem. See? So I didn't find it surprising when people were calling me and saying, he was calling them and complaining about his wife. I was like, yep, that's him. Leopard never changes their spots. The same old narcissistic ex that he is. He does not change. New relationship, same toxic narcissistic behavior. He does not change, right? So why would I be jealous? Why would I give a shit about these made up stories that people want to paint? Because they are jealous of me in some way, shape, or form. Because obviously, if you did not come to me to verify if these things were true, you was a jealous mofo, or you wanted it to be true because you were envious, or you never liked me to begin with. So just be honest about that. So, um, before I hit the end button, what else did she say? Oh yeah, there was always this rule. I think I said that, didn't I? Oh boy, hold on. Yeah. So another lie was that, um, well, I'm guessing this was combined effort between both the ex narcissist and the so-called narcissistic sister, right? Because I heard even her friends mentioning hint, hint, hint about what I'm going to say. They made up stories telling people, oh, she lazy, she don't want work, she this, she that, and they have all these expert advice and all these stories about who I am, and telling people as if it is facts, and it is just all, majority of it is made up stories or exaggerated stories. It starts with, oh, with a little piece of truth, and then they slap on the 99% lies on the 1% truth. Okay? So if this was truth and I was lazy and I didn't want to work, why is it that I made a post on TikTok and my other socials in early March of this year? The last time that I attempted to, when I was finding work at that time, why did I make a post exposing a work at home scam? And I was exposing that these people were acting as if they were a organization that was giving out work for people, but it was not a work. It was literal scammers. How could I have known that unless I was at that time actively looking for work? You feel me? So there stories. When you know what's going on, really going on in my life, you would be like, oh no, no, your story don't make sense, because I know for a fact at that time she was actually actively looking for work. So your story don't make sense. It's a lie. And you would know these things if you paid attention, right? And stop gossiping. So I, unlike them, they have to make up stories to try and make me look bad, to try to paint me out to be a person that is unstable, a person that don't look like I am worth the respect and the authenticity and the genuineness that people give to me. They try to make it seem like I'm not deserving of it. So they out of their jealousy and enviness, they spread their lies. They want to sabotage, they want to destroy that because they are jealous. Right? Relatives and people who are in my space, but behind the scenes, behind my back, they were jealous. Right? Now you see why I cut them off. Anyways, I don't have to make up stories about them to make them look bad. They do it all by themselves. They do bad all by themselves. All I have to do is speak the truth, and the truth makes you realize just how bad they are. Right? The truth alone. I don't even have to make up stories, right? And that's some real shit. Right? No wonder they get up every day and wear masks. Even the narcissistic so-called sister, talking about nobody want me. Her relationship, right? Could she quarrels and fights every day with who wants to be in a relationship like that? You quarrel and fight every day when you are around this person. And at the time she and him was living in two different countries. And they're always arguing over the phone. And then when they do meet up in person, they are quarreling and fighting. Quarreling and fighting before they even got married. That was the lifestyle. So can you imagine you are running to go get in a relationship just to be seen with a man so that people can validate you? Oh, you have a man. And these same people who are talking about, oh, me married, nobody no want you. Their relationship, their marriage is a facade because they get up every day and quarrel with their loved ones to the point where before she did even married, she on the phone and she asked this same man, "You sure you really want to marry me?" Because she a trick. She's rechecking her reality. Them fuss and them fight, literally fist fight every day, and argue over the phone like cats and dogs. Ruff, 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 meow, 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 meow. And then them still go married each other. Eh? Listen me. I would rather be single, contented, not have a soul to worry about, than be in a relationship where I am constantly fighting and arguing with somebody just to say, I got a man. And that's how it is, right? And I hold no apology about that or my life whatsoever. And that's how it is.